Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. I should probably put these up while I'm talking. So let me go ahead and do that. Hello, welcome. If this is your first time here, my name is Melinda Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. You can find information about the projects that I make, including today's alternate paper pumpkin card ideas for the December kit on my blog at www.stampingwithheart.blogspot.com. If you ever need to reach out to me with a question, anything like that, I would be happy to hear from you. You can contact me via email at stampingwithheart@gmail.com. This is probably the best way to get in touch with me right now, or to be on my email list, in which case you can always reply to an email that I send out to you. Now, today we are going to be talking about the alternate card ideas for the December 2023 Paper Pumpkin Kit. These cards, when I get into alternates, that means that I'm going with the kit mainly. Usually I will have like a particular focus, but I will be bringing in additional products for the kit. So just to be clear, just in case you're new to Paper Pumpkin, or if you're new here, to my channel or to watching me on Facebook, which I'm streaming live on Facebook right now, and I'll be posting the replay to YouTube a little bit later. So if you are new here, Paper Pumpkin is an all-inclusive card kit, but one of the things that I like to do every single month with Paper Pumpkin is to create more ideas than what has been designed in the kit. So the kit, the way the cards were designed were beautiful. They are perfect. And it's an all-inclusive kit, meaning everything that you need to make those cards is right in the kit. But when we get into alternate cards, we start to play. And one of the main focuses that I wanted to get into with the alternate ideas today was to play with the stamp set. So that is really what we're going to be focusing on today. We're going to be using kit components, but we're going to be using some other products as well. And I'll tell you what those are in just a minute. But we're also going to be focusing on coordinating colors in the kit. So that's something that I like to do every single month. And this month will be no exception. I adore the December kit. I think it is so beautiful. And when I did my unboxing the other day, you guys were responding and letting me know that you think that this kit is absolutely beautiful too. So it has just been a breath of fresh air. I know that dandelions can get a bad rap, but I actually think that they're pretty. I like them personally. So you are more than welcome to comment. Let me know, what do you think of the December kit? Have you gotten your kit yet? Today, we're going to be playing with the stamps and doing a little bit more. We're going to be incorporating a little bit more of our in colors and cardstock shades, and we're going to be bringing in some complementary product. So as you guys are joining me live, I would love to hear from you. Be sure to say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm seeing a couple of comments. Hello, Roberta. Hello. And she says she got her Paper Pumpkin kit too. That is awesome. Thanks for being here, Roberta. So we are going to start diving into making the cards here in just a minute. Now, there were a couple more things that I did want to tell you just before we jump in. The first thing is that I'm actually going to have a free project sheet for the alternate card ideas that I made with the December kit. But the project sheet will be posted when the replay is posted. So give me a few hours to get that together. Sometimes it can take a day, but I will try to get this posted just as soon as possible, because I know that everybody has started to receive their kits and they're starting to play with their kits. And so I want to get the resource out to you just as soon as I can. So there will be a free project sheet. And the way that you can get the free project sheet is by, if you're watching the replay, you can click in the description box below. Or if you're on my email list, it will automatically be sent to you. Or you could always check on my blog as well, and you will find the links to access the free project sheet. And the blog will be updated when the replay is posted as well a little bit later on today. So, okay, let's go down to the table and we'll talk about the alternate cards. And then when we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Paper Pumpkin. One thing I do want to say before I dive in, subscriptions are open for January's kit. So today we're working with December, but you can actually subscribe to the January kit, which is going to be called Lovely Lavender, until January 10th, 2024. So if you haven't already subscribed to Paper Pumpkin, if you would like to give it a try, I would love to have you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin with me. And if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. But if you want that January kit, just make sure you're signed up before January 10th. And you can find out all of the details about that in the description and on my blog as well once the replay is posted. And we're going to go down to the table and we're going to talk a little bit more now about what we're working on for our alternates for this month. And then after we're done with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the add-on dies and things that you can get right now for our next 3 Paper Pumpkin kits. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. And Roberta says that she ordered the add-on. So she ordered the add-on dies and that hers will be there today. I also ordered my add-on dies. I've been hearing from you guys saying that you ordered your add-on dies. So let me go ahead and I'll just tell you about that really quick. We'll dive in and then I'll show all the paperwork and everything on it later. But if you want the information now, the add-on dies that we're referring to are actually called the Love of Spring dies. Item number 164396. They're $12 for 4 dies. And each of those dies is going to coordinate with January, February, and March's Paper Pumpkin kits. Plus, there's another die in there that I think will be useful all throughout the year. I think that the Love die is actually going to be useful all throughout the year as well. But I will show you more details about that in the end of this video. So for right now, let's go ahead and get in on that. What I will say is it's while supplies last. It's orderable right now, and I wouldn't wait because dies for Paper Pumpkin kits have been very popular. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll go down to the table. All right, so here are the alternate cards that we are going to be working on today. So we'll just take a quick look at these and then we will start making them. So here is one. Here is the card we're actually going to start with today, and I will tell you why. But I did try to use a lot of our stamps. I tried to use every stamp, as a matter of fact, from the stamp set in the December Paper Pumpkin kit. And we'll get into what we used here. And then here's this one also. All right. So these are the alternate cards. Just in case you are, curious about what the original cards look like, I actually have those here as well. So these were the cards that the Paper Pumpkin team designed. So just so you can see, it's pretty close, right? I mean, you can stay really close with your alternates or you can really branch out. So very, very similar themes. We're just playing with sort of elements in a different way. So those were the original Paper Pumpkin cards for the December kit. Now this one I'm actually going to leave out because I want to show you the difference between this one and the one alternate that I made. So I'm going to set these aside and we're actually going to start. Let me put them over here because every time I set something over on that side of the table, it drops. So let's just put these over here. We're going to leave these 2 out. Okay. And now here's the stamp set. Okay. So this is actually the little piece of acetate that has the printed versions of what all of the stamps look like and their actual size. It came in the December kit. So I actually already have all of my stamps mounted to clear blocks. So I'll be bringing in more clear blocks for this presentation. But we're actually going to be using every single one of these stamps today. So just wanted to note that. Now, going into the new year, Paper Pumpkin is going to be making a change with this. Okay, so typically the image is printed right on the acetate. They've let us know that they're actually going to be making a change to that, and it's not going to be printed on the acetate anymore, but there will be an insert from what I understand. So we'll know more. We'll actually be able to see it with our own eyes when we get our kit in January, but just a little heads up that I wanted to mention that for you. Okay, and so we'll just set that aside for now. So here is the original designed Paper Pumpkin card. And here is my alternate. Okay, so very, very similar in style. And the main thing that I wanted to know when I first got this kit, particularly when I saw the imagery of the dandelions, was can I create a background similar to the printed version on the card? Okay, so one of the great things about paper pumpkin kits is that when we get the die cuts and when we get the card bases, they usually have some artwork and some printed detail on them. But these are what we would call a consumable piece, which means once those 3 cards from the kit are used, we no longer have the ability to use this pattern. So my question was, with this stamp set, could we recreate the pattern? And it didn't have to be exact. I just wanted to know if we could do something similar. And my answer to you is yes. We can achieve a very similar result. And that's the first card that we're going to make today. So you guys can let me know what your opinion is on that. I absolutely love using all of the stamps from the kits if I can help it. I think that it maximizes the use of the kit and our purchase, right? I mean, it's a great, fantastic value. And this is a great way to take a stamp set out for a spin. Now, that said, don't feel like you have to do this, but this is something that I personally enjoy doing. And if you enjoy doing this, then I'm going to tell you how I built this out too. So let's take a look at this without all of the decoration on it. Okay. So this is what it looks like, just the printed card base. The great news about the printed card base is that we have a balmy blue backing as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim this card in half. We're actually going to use this layer for our background because I like to use as much of the kit as we can. But if you don't want to take the back off of your card base, if you'd like to use all of these, just grab your balmy blue cardstock or another complementary, soft blue. But I would recommend balmy blue since that's what they used. So we're going to be using that piece right there. And we're going to be doing some similar things, but changing it. And again, it's really about extending the life of the kit. So we only have so many of these circle die cuts that we can use. So I decided to do a circle punch for this alternate card. So just certain things like that. But let's start with building out our own background using the stamp set from the December kit. Okay, so we're going to trim this in half first. And then here's the other thing that I wanted to tell you, and this is probably the better way to show it. So when you get your instruction kit on the back, well, the instructions for your kit, let me correct myself, you will see right here, they have coordinating colors. I always recommend this. It's so helpful when you're working with alternates, okay? And the alternate colors or the coordinating colors in this case are Balmy Blue, Pebbled Path, which is our hero color for the kit this month, Old Olive, Crushed Curry, and of course, white and gold. And we will be using a couple of pops of some shine today. So we're going to be using the gold foil sheets. And we're also going to be using something called tartan specialty paper. We're only going to be using the Pebbled Path shade on that, but let me show you what these look like. So I had packed some of these up. Let's see if this one's intact. They're actually 12 by 12 sheets. I packed a whole bunch of these at 6 by 6 a little bit earlier in the season when it came out. So here we have 3 colors. We have Lost Lagoon. It's 2-sided. We have Pebbled Path. This is the piece we're going to be using with the alternate today. And then we also have, excuse me, I believe this is Copper Clay, but I would have to double check myself on that. I don't have the actual backing on here, but this is actually an online exclusive paper. And the thing that I love about this paper is the element of shine on it. Okay, so there's a lot of shine on this. And when you get to see this card in person, it's just really, really beautiful. So we are going to be using a piece of that for our alternates today too. But we're going to start with a technique. Now, you may or may not have done heat embossing before. I am going to be doing heat embossing because I actually wanted to recreate this pattern in white, but you don't have to do that. You could do this in balmy blue. You could do this in one of these, ink colors that you want to do. And we will be using these stamps with ink colors on other cards. But I'm actually going to start with my heat embossing. And so here's what I'm going to use for heat embossing for my alternates. Okay. I'm going to be using the white Stampin' Emboss powder. This is part of our basics pack, a trio of black, white, and clear. Today we're going to be using white. I'm also going to be using some pieces of our Embossing Editions toolkit, including there is a anti-static little powder pouch, and we're going to be using that. I'm going to be using the brush in this. I'm pretty sure I dropped my tweezers behind my table, so I don't have those, but that actually comes with the Embossing Editions toolkit. We're going to be using the Versamark ink, and we're also going to be using our heat tool. Now, I know that might sound a lot, but for those of you who do heat emboss, or you do like to bring in techniques to your paper pumpkin alternates, this is so worth it. Okay, so I definitely recommend it if you feel like you're ready to do some heat embossing. So we're going to do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim this piece in half. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. One of the things we're going to be using a lot of from the kit are these embellishments today. And if you haven't had a chance to see the unboxing, or if you haven't gotten your kit yet and you want to see it, I do have those replays available on Facebook and on YouTube. And that is where we get to see all of the components of the kit. I won't be doing that today. All right. And now I'm going to take this piece, and I'm actually going to trim this piece down to 3 3/4. I'll trim it off of this. Well, you know what? That's fine. We'll do 3 3/4 by 5. I'll save that piece for another alternate later. Let me see if I can scoot this up a little bit further. Okay, so 3 3/4 by 5. I'm pretty sure that that's what my measurement was, but let me just double check myself. Okay, so yep, 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, so that's this piece here. We're going to use this one for reference. And I'll tell you guys how I built my background. You can choose to do it this way, or you can make it more random, or, choose your pattern however you like. So I'm going to stand up for this. I'm sitting in the chair. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday so far. It is snowing here where I live in Pennsylvania, and I will admit to you that I actually love snow. So, I don't love driving in it, but I just think it's so beautiful. So I think it's really nice to sort of see a little bit of snow and have that chill before we officially head into the winter season. But I actually enjoy winter. Okay, I don't know how you guys feel about winter, but I like it. Let me know in the comments what you think of winter. It's perfect. It's the perfect season for crafting, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to take our anti-static tool, and we're just going to run it right over our paper. The whole purpose of this is to get any of the like natural oils from our fingers or things like that, so that when we stamp the image, the only thing that the powder sticks to is the ink. So that's the idea behind that. We're going to do the best that we can, try to keep it as clean as we can. So we're going to be using our Versamark for this, and we're going to be using all of the daffodil images. So I like to start with the largest one. And what I like to do is come in on the 4 corners and then build around it. I just find that that is the easiest step here. And let me see if I can get the original piece. So you can see in terms of the scale, it's a little bit different of a size, but here is that image of the dandelion that's very similar to this one. You can see it coming in from this side, coming in from this side, coming in here, and then also coming in here, but they're not full images. They're sort of stamped off. So we're going to do a similar thing. Okay, so I'm just going to build this up. We're going to go all the way around. I'm going to be doing this in all different directions. So just follow me on this. So for our 4 corners first, just going to bring it in. And when you're stamping with Versamark ink, you have time to build your background before you need to, do anything. You don't have to be scared that it's going to dry out before you have a chance to heat emboss it. It's going to be okay. So it's okay to build your whole scene. If you want to do it in layers, you can. Okay, and the whole idea is not to be exact, but just to kind of keep the essence so that if we want to do this in multiples, we don't need to have that particular card base. But just keep in mind that if that is what you prefer, you can get refills for paper pumpkin kits. They're mostly available. I don't know if they're going to be available for December yet, but we will find out very soon. So hopefully you can see the watermarking on that there. So those are our 4 corners. Now I'm going to continue with our largest image. And what we're going to do is in those stamped off images that we kind of saw where it wasn't the full thing, but we still had that larger dandelion image, we're going to go into each of these centers now. And then after that, we're going to start filling with the smaller stamps. So come in here. Now, the way that the artwork was done on these stamps, I feel like even if you did overlap or crisscross, it would really be okay. Really, really pretty. And I think that there's a lot of wiggle room on stamping with these. I'm trying to use my nail to release the paper so I'm not touching it with my finger. Okay. And then we're just going to come in on that side. Okay, so same stamp, but now we've come in 4 more places and we have that general frame. And so we still have spacing in between. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to fill. So I'm going to go 1 size down with our dandelion images. And again, I'm going to try to fill in those larger areas. And then we have these 2 little guys, which is probably hard to see with my hand, but we have these 2 little ones, and these are really easy to fill when we need to fill extra space. So we're going to go in with this second largest stamp here, at least of the dandelion images. And we're just going to start filling in those larger areas between the stamps we just did. And for me, it's a lot like puzzle piecing almost, like when you're putting a puzzle together. And we just slowly build. There's a little wispy or something on there. We just build this going around. And it creates a really pretty pattern. Okay. So let me lift this up so that you can see this next layer. So you can see hopefully that watermark there, those smaller images starting to fill, but you can see we still have space. We still have gaps. And so we're going to focus on filling those in next. So I'm going to get my little angled dandelion. And I'm just going to start bringing that in. Now I will say the 2 smaller dandelions have a very similar look to them. So if you only wanted to use, one of the 2, you could certainly do that. I really like the curved one, particularly in the corners. Okay. All right, and then for our last one here, we're just going to take a look. And you really could stop right here. You could stop and put your powder on and go ahead and heat set this. All right, but if you want to bring the frame in further or you want to just add a little bit of extra, what we're going to do is we're just going to go back in and we're really going to get all of those little gaps and edges. And you can even go further in if you would want to, but I'm going to leave the biggest images closest to where we're going to put that circle. Okay. And so as we go around, to me, it's looking like just about everything is filled. I see a little spot down here. So we're just gonna bring that in. And I see a little bit right here. But other than that, it's looking really good. Let's get this corner. And you just keep going until you're happy with it. Now, I'm pretty happy with this, and hopefully you can see that, but we're going to see it a lot better in a second. So I'm going to get my tray. This is just to help, you know, manage your mess when you're using your powders. I know some people like to keep them in, you know, little containers with the spoon, and then it's very neat and contained in there. I'm going to use the tray. And I'm actually going to prop this up. We're just going to start sprinkling, and then we'll go around. And we're going to kind of shuffle it down. Okay, and it looks like we could use a little more powder here. So we're just going to make sure we have those images nice and strong and covered there. Maybe a little bit more powder here. Now, keep in mind, you are going to be putting your circle in the center, so you might have some coverage over these things. So you don't have to fuss too much over it. But this actually picked up really nice and clean. Can you see that? So that's the benefit of that anti-static powder tool. It's very helpful. Okay, so I'm going to put this over to the side. We're going to get our heat tool. Okay, there are settings on the heat tool. 0, 1, 2, 0 is off, 1 is low. We're going to go up to 2, and I'm just going to let it run for a second and warm up. This is where you use your tweezers. So I'm just going to heat set this. I apologize if it's loud. Now, to me, this is the whole fun and magic, if we can call it magic. Scientists know better than we do, right? The inventors, but absolutely watching this powder come to life like this when we heat set it is just so cool to me. For those of you who are still in winter mode, and I am still in winter mode, we'll still be doing winter themed cards. And let's say you're still working on snowflakes or things like that. If you haven't heat embossed yet this season, oh boy, how perfect is Balmy Blue with the white heat powder, heat embossed powder. So we're just going to take our time, make sure all of this powder turns. Okay. And then I'm just going to rotate. You don't want to leave your heat on a single spot too long. As soon as you see that change, just roll over it, but it's okay to take your time as you go around. You just don't want to leave the heat too long in one spot because you don't want to overheat it. We want it nice and shiny. Okay, so you can see, hopefully you can see here that we have the shine on that. I feel like it's not showing up, but it's nice and shiny in person. So just really, really nice detail. And then you can take that anti-static powder and just give that a quick wipe, or if you want to just let it set, that's fine, but it doesn't take long. Okay, and so that is how we create this particular layer. And then just to compare it to the original image, you can see how close it is. Okay. So in my opinion, it's really close. Okay, so different scale, different size, but with these 4 images, you get this background. And I just think it is so beautiful. I think it is so pretty. So I absolutely love this. Just think of all of the different color combinations you could do this with. Okay, but like I said, once you run out of your card bases, because use these up, these are absolutely beautiful. You can absolutely continue to use this stamp set on and on and on, or you can purchase refills, whichever works better for you, right? If you really want the simplicity of the pre-printed, go with refills. If you really want to utilize your stamp sets and get into more of the techniques, then do this. All right, and so we're just going to do our basic white card base. If I cut a card base for this one, I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. I have a card base for this one. Oh, me. Okay, well, let's make one. We'll make one real quick. I see a piece of basic white. And let me go ahead and get my paper trimmer again, wherever I may have put it. Here it is. I'm always setting things on the floor off to the side because my table is so small. Okay. And so I'm just going to make a super quick card base. So I'm just going to cut this at 5.5. It's already 8.5 because it's a full sheet. So 5.5 by 8.5 is the goal. I'll save this one for later, just for the sake of time. And then I'm going to go to 4.25, and that's where we're going to score. So the great thing about this paper trimmer is you got your scoring and your cutting all in one swing. Okay, and so here is our card base. Don't rush like me so that you get the corners straight and not crooked like I just did. I might be able to fix that with my bone folder. Let's see. Not really. I'll just trim that little edge off later. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and use this side. All right, so now we have our layer. I'm going to be bringing in this natural ribbon. This is from the natural and copper ribbon combo pack. All right, and so we're just going to wrap this around as our layer. And then we're going to do this circle. This is the 2 3/8 inch circle punch. I think I have it right here on the table that I used for this particular circle. And the actual circle die cut size in the kit, again, if you want refills, you could purchase refills and get this pre-one done. This looks like 3 1/8 is the inch size on that. So this circle is a little bit smaller. All right, and then we're going to get our Balmy Blue ink. This is our Hello Friend card. So you get 3 different sentiments in this particular stamp set. We're going to be using all 3, but we'll start with Hello Friend. We're going to go right in the center. Okay. And so one of the things that came in this month's kit was the Tear and Tape adhesive. And I do like to use Tear and Tape adhesive or Stamp and Seal Plus when I am securing ribbon. So we're going to use some of that. And you don't have to wrap the ribbon around the back of the card. I like to have clean edges on it, but if you would rather just do like a little edge or a banner cut and just have the layer be on the front, that's totally fine, depending on if you are particular about bulk or not. So we're going to try to keep that center. That looks pretty even. All right, and then if you have any excess, we'll just trim that off. I do this with ribbon a lot. It's just a look that I like. Okay, and then I'm actually going to go over it again with the adhesive. Not a must, but in this case, because this is larger, this is bulkier ribbon, I am going to do that. And I'm just going to put some across the top here too. And this will be our layer. Okay. Just put this right down. Now, if you would want to continue the stamping on your card base, you could actually do a whole nother level of stamping here. And you could have some fun with that. I'm going to put our Stampin' Dimensionals at the top and the bottom of this circle. Put that right in the center. And then we're going to use one of the die cut pieces from the kit. It is the rounded edge. Okay, so you do get a good number of these, but in the original design from Paper Pumpkin, they go fully around the circle. And remember, the circle is a slightly different size. So for me, I'm actually just going to go across the top. I'll do a couple more dimensionals on that. I'll just go right across the top, just like so. I could probably get a little mini dimensional over on that side, but I'm just going to leave it for now. If you want to add it, you certainly can. And then we'll finish with those little faceted gems that came in the kit. And then we'll do one large and one small at the bottom. And we'll do another at the top. And I'll just put it right here over the flower. On the original or alternate card, I did them on the actual background. So just wherever you prefer. But that is our first alternate card. Just taking those dandelion stamps for a spin. Okay. And so now I can put all of those originals away. And we'll go on to our next card. And I will check. Here, we'll do this one next. This one's pretty simple, actually. But let me check and see if there's any comments. Okay. Hi, Tammy. How are you doing? So nice to have you guys here. Okay, so here is our next alternate, and I did try to pre-cut some of this. I'm doing well, Tammy. How are you doing? Okay, so for this card, we're going to use a crushed curry card base. We're actually going to be using the imagery from the envelope. So this is something that I like to do with alternates just about every month. And we're going to be using the Deckled Circles dies on 2 of our alternates today. For this one, we're going to be using the larger die, and I'll give you the actual size on that in just a minute. That is for our other alternates, so I can set that one back over here. Okay. All right, and so this one is pretty simple. Oh, and let me get this card base. So this is one of the original card bases from the kit, and I absolutely adore when they have the printing on both sides of the card because I'm going to use both sides. So we're just going to cut this in half, and then we're going to trim this down, and we're going to use this as a layer on this card. So let me go back and get my paper trimmer again. All right. And first, I'm just going to cut it in half. And then let me tell you what the measurement on this one is. This one is also cut to 3 3/4 by 5 for this layer. So let's go ahead, trim that down. And for this one, I want to leave as much of the bottom as possible. So I'm actually going to put the bottom on the 5. And we'll just trim some of this blue off of the top. Okay. And this is one of those top fold cards. So this one is a 4 1/4 by 11, and then it is scored at 5 1/2. And I have a 4 by 5 1/4 insert in this card because I'm making my own card bases for these alternates. Okay, so we have this layer. And then the next thing that we need, I am going to be bringing in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for this, and I am using the full-size guy because we're using a larger die. This circle would not fit in our mini. So let's go ahead and get that. Okay. All right. So the idea here was to frame in our flower and to leave enough space for a stamp. Okay, so however much of that space you want is totally up to you. With the card that I made, you can see it almost looks like half of a taco shell. Okay, this is sort of the best way to describe it. So a half circle essentially, and we're going to use the smaller stamp, but if you want to use one of the wider ones, you can go further in if you want to, but I did want to use some of the background here. But circles is one of the themes that I wanted to carry over from the designer in the kits, since a circle die cut is one of the elements in the original designed kits. So one thing I do want to preserve, because we could use this as a layer on another card, is this top flap. So you can use your paper trimmer, but because I have this on my table, I'm just going to freehand it. Uh-oh. Every month I forget about, I don't typically do lives on Tuesdays, but I've been getting into the habit of doing Tuesday lives, and I have a reminder on my phone I always forget to turn off. So I apologize if you heard that, but I have to leave the sound on my phone in case the school ever calls me for Connor. Okay, so I'm just gonna get my plates up here. I sort of have them wedged. All right, and now I'm just gonna line this up. I want to try to get as much of the imagery as I can without going off of the circle. Okay, so I like it right there, and our hello friend should fit just fine. So we're going to cut that. This is going to go slightly off camera for a second, but I promise I'll bring the plates right back to you. Okay, and I apologize if I'm shaking the camera. Okay, so you can see we got a really nice cut here. All right, you can always save that for scraps or for something else. But I didn't cut off the back of the envelope. I just left it because envelopes are pretty thin. So it cuts really nicely, I think, personally. So there is our piece. Okay, and let me get you the size on this circle. This will all be on the free project sheet as well. Okay, so the size on this circle is 4 3/8. Okay, and again, those are our deckled circles. So I'm just going to set this aside. I love using the imagery as much as I possibly can. Now on this one, we're not going to do any additional stamping, but let me just show you for comparison. These are both the same envelope image, but I added to this one and I did not on this one. So that is an option for you if you really like that look. We'll be doing that on our next card, okay? But let's go ahead and put this together. So I just left the layer there and basically tucked it onto the card. But you can take that edge off if you want to. So before I actually put this down, we're just going to stamp. We're going to stamp our hello friend. I'm just going to clean it off because I had balmy glue on it. We're going to switch to Pebble Path ink for this one. Okay, I'm using my full-size ink pad because I have it, but you could certainly use the Stampin' Spot from the kit too. So there is our hello friend. Isn't Pebbled Path just an absolutely beautiful gray? So beautiful. This is what it looks like when you first stamp it. It almost looks black, but it dries down to this. It's very pretty. Okay, so now I am just gonna get my glue. Let's go. Let's go back with the glue. But before I put this down, I'm actually gonna put this on first. I'm going to go towards the top of my layer with this so that we can still see our pretty flowers down here from the imagery. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back in really quick. Put a little more glue down. And then pop this on. And you can see it's still kind of popping up here. You could make it an interactive card, you know, if you want to, but I'm just going to glue this down. So we'll just put a little piece of tear and tape here. Pop that down. Okay, and then very simple. If you want to add more to this, you certainly could, but we're just going to finish with our faceted gems. So one large, one small, and then another small. Oops, that was a little bit low. We'll do it a little bit closer to the flower. And there is our second alternate. Just a reminder, we're going to be hearing that alarm because if I try to turn the alarm off, I'll probably lose the connection to StreamYard. So I'll just silence it as it comes on. Okay, so for our next card, which is this one here, we're going to do a little bit more stamping. And let me just go ahead and get my pieces for this one. And let me try not to lose my adhesives, which I'm really good at doing. All right, and so we're going to be working with this piece. So we're going to need our envelope again. That's going to be one of our main layers. We're taking this piece from the kit. So this is one of the die cut pieces that comes with the kit. I'm going to be using a basic white card base. This is a traditional card base, just very similar to the one that we made. 5.5 by 8.5, score at 4 1/4. We don't need an insert because the inside is already white. And then we're going to be using some of that tartan specialty paper. I can't remember if they call this foil or not. I think it's just called specialty paper. And we're going to be using the pebbled path side. I love this side too, but I felt like it was a little too much white on white. I like the contrast of this. So we're going to be using this side here. So we can trim these down first. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to do 4 1/8. And we can always save this piece for later. By 5 3/8 on this one. And then this piece here, which is about 3/8, we're just going to trim that down to a 1/2 inch. I didn't do that on the original card, but I am going to do it on this one. So we'll trim this down to about a 1/2 inch, and then we're going to bring this down in length as well. So this piece here, because we're going to use this on the inner part of the card, it ends up about 3 1/4 once I've used my Banner's Pick-a-Punch. But this is the original size, which is that 4 1/8. So I'm actually going to cut this down to 3 1/2. And then we'll take some of that length off when we actually punch the piece. But for now, those will be our 2 tartan pieces that we're going to add to this. And then we're also going to trim down our envelope. And our envelope image is going to be trimmed to 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So that one's a little bit different. So again, we're going to preserve this piece. So we're going to take this off first. And again, you can make that a layer on another card. So we'll save that for another time. And then I need to get the backing off of this one. So that's going to be our first goal before I start really trimming this down. So let's just get those edges off first. We'll get the back off. Okay. All right. So here, we're just going to take this off. We're going to cut this as close as we can without being able to see that crease. And remember, because the envelope is a little bit thinner, it's not like, you know, cardstock quality. We might have to just clean up those edges a little bit. Okay. And so now we're going to trim that down to 3 3/4. Apologies. Okay, so 3 3/4 by, what did I say, 4 3/4? And if you would want to do it 5, that's totally fine. Okay, so here is our sort of layer image. Our wishing you all the best is going to go over here. But before we get to that, we're actually going to build on our dandelion. Okay, so let me just show you. It's pretty seamless. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. You guys can decide, what you think. I'm going to bring in my foam pad here, my little scrap paper. And we'll save these pieces for when we're ready for that. We can put this aside. That's for the next card. Okay, and so I need to clean off my stamps because I still have Versamark on all of those dandelion images. So let's do that first. Okay, but here's what we're going to be building right over here off to the side. So we're going to be using crushed curry ink, and we're going to be using Old Olive for this. If you would want to use a softer green, you could do that too. Totally up to you. Okay, but let's just, I'm going to try to clean that off as best as I can. Hang on. Because I know I got that Versamark on my actual block too. Sorry about that squeaking. Okay. Just part of the cleaning, right? I've been meaning to try that Stampin' Scrubber. I really should do that. I should make that a goal for 2024. Okay. If you guys have the Stampin' Scrubber, let me know your thoughts on it. I use the Simply Chamois for everything. Okay, so we are going to get our 2 colors. All right, so our crushed curry and our Old Olive. We'll do Old Olive first. Now, if you have the Stampin' Write markers, this is an ideal technique for the Stampin' Write markers. I am actually going to use my inks for this. And so all I'm going to do is try to walk it in and get as much of the Old Olive on the stamp as I can. Can you see that? And then I'm going to grab my crushed curry. I like to work in the corners because I feel like it's just a little bit safer if I do mess up or if I do overlap my colors. I feel like it's easier to clean. Okay, but totally up to you. And then we're just gonna build. Okay, so we're just gonna do that one, and then let's see how I did the original. Okay, so I did this one a little bit lower than I normally do. So this one, I might actually take a little bit higher. Let's see if I need it. We'll do the little one first. So same deal with the little one. That's pretty good. I'm going to go in a little bit further. I think we got it. And then let's ink that one. Okay. I might not need the big one. Let's just, for the sake of argument, what would that look like if I put that in there? I don't think I need it. But on the original, I did put that in because I had this one about halfway up the vine instead of down towards the bottom. But this is fine too. So we're just going to go on to the next. That's basically how I did that. And what are we going to use for our, we're still going to use our Pebbled Path for our sentiment. And that is wishing you all the best. So let's stamp that next. Here it is. All right. And I'm going to go right in the center with this one. You can go a little bit above center if you want to. All right. And then on the original card, I actually did just a little crisscross of these 2 little daffodils right down on the corner. Not daffodil, dandelion. I'm like, I knew as I was saying it was coming out of my mouth wrong. I hope I haven't been doing that through the whole video. Dandelion, dandelion. Okay. So we're going to do this 2 more times with our little guys. There we go. It's that little gap between the stem and the flower that I tend to miss the ink. And that is why Stampin' Write markers are absolutely ideal for this. And then how did I stamp this? Went up, and then we'll go over to the side for our other little guy. This one still feels sticky. I wonder if I didn't get all my Versamark off of there. Okay. And we'll just go this way. I'm actually going to crisscross this slightly differently than I did on my original. That's the fun of alternates. They change. I have a real problem keeping everything exactly the same. I can tell you that. Okay. And it's not on purpose. It just happens. So, did I get ink on that? No. Okay. We're all good. I was like, did I mess that up? Okay. So now we can start assembling. But the one thing that I did want to do before I move on is grab my Banner's Pick-a-Punch, which, where did I put that little guy? And we could always do this with scissors too. If you don't have your punch, you could do it manually, but I never cut it straight, which is why I like the punch. So I see my 2 circle punches. What did I do with my Banner's Pick-a-Punch? And while I'm looking, Roberta says, I have 4 of the scrubbers and I love it. It is awesome. You have 4 of the scrubbers, Roberta? That is awesome. Do you rotate them? Why do you have 4 of them? Is it for classes? Let me know. You guys, what did I do with it? Well, you know what? We'll just adapt. I'll find it as soon as the video is over. I promise you. It's probably right in front of my face and I just am not seeing it. But we'll just, for the sake of this, we're just going to cut right in to this. We're going to cut in the center, just create like a little slit and then come in from either end. And I will apologize in advance if I mess this up. Have confidence, right? Be confident. You can do it. Okay, so there's one, and then here's our other. And I'm not going far. And just trying to go right from that edge. That's close enough, right? Might not be perfect, but it's close. All right, and then we'll put this piece down here. So glue or your tear and tape adhesive would be fine. There we go. And then I'm going to pop this one up on dimensionals. Let me just check on the time, 1:12. We are doing great. We're doing great. Okay. The detour to my son's school is finally reopened. They closed this major section to create a roundabout. And it went on for months and months and months. And the detour route took so much longer. So now that that is reopened, it does not take me as long to drive there, which I cannot even tell you how happy that makes me. I apologize. I apologize. Ignore the alarm. We'll be done in just a few minutes here. Okay, so here's our basic white base. We're going to go ahead and glue this piece down first. Okay. If, you know, for those of you who are watching and have stayed with me for this long, first of all, thank you. Whether you're watching live or in the replay, I appreciate you being here and staying this long for all of our cards. And again, I'll have a project sheet as to how you can recreate these cards with all of the measurements and all of that lovely stuff. But one question that I'm curious about is everybody loving the online exclusives? As far as I can tell, I think that people are really enjoying them. But because this tartan specialty paper is an online exclusive, I just thought I would ask and get your opinions. Like, is that something that you're going to the website and actually scoping out, you know, what we have available with online exclusives? I know that it's entirely different from our catalog experience, so I just wanted to see what you think. Are you guys still preferring to shop the catalogs like the old school way, or are you loving online exclusives? Let me know. I'm so curious to hear. I love them both. I've really enjoyed the online exclusive aspect. I have really loved the way that they've done the launches this year. I've loved the product options, but I love, 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 love my catalogs. Never, ever, ever, ever want to go without my catalogs. Still my favorite. But it's always nice to have a new way to do things too. Okay, so we're just going to add this layer. Okay. There we go. All right, and then we'll pop this one on. I am taking this slightly over the white layer, which is fine. I did that on my original card too. And then we're going to finish with our little faceted gems. So let's grab those. And then on my original card, I put them right around the die cut. So we'll do the same thing on this one. I do really like where this hits, where that lines up with this layer. Comes up a little bit higher on this one, but I love the way it just kind of continues right in. I think that looks really pretty. Okay. All right, so there is that our third card, I think? 1, 2, yeah, that's our third card. So this is our third alternate card right here. And for those of you who get upset when I don't leave enough time to take a screenshot, let me go ahead and do that for you right here. All right, and I'm going to take a pause if you want to do a screenshot. And then I'll do one here. I don't think you need both of these, but whatever. Let's go ahead and give it a minute for that one. And then we'll go into our last alternate card. Okay, so for our last alternate card, let's see if I can find it. Here it is. I put a little adhesive bin and it's really working out for me, I have to say. So I think that's going to stay there. Okay, and we'll leave our faceted gems right over here. Here is our fourth and final alternate, at least for today's video. And what you can see here, we have an old olive card base. I did a top fold on this one again, so let me go ahead and get that piece out. We're going to be using the die cut circle from the December Paper Pumpkin Kit. We're also going to be using the other side of the card base for the layer on this card as well. I love this card. I've already used all the pieces because I really love the imagery on that. And then we also are using our gold foil with another size of the deckled circle dies because I really did want to take advantage of the circle theme here. So this is a 3.5 inch deckled circle for the gold foil that we used here. And then our sizing on this layer is 4 by 5.25. So let's go ahead and trim that down. Hi, Dolores. How are you doing? She says hello from Nebraska. How is the weather in Nebraska today, Dolores? She says, I do both, but sometimes forget to look at the online since I still work full-time too. Yeah, I think it would be easy to forget about the online exclusives because when we have our catalogs, you know, we've been doing that for years. We've been looking at our catalog for years. It's like a habit that we're used to. But I feel like because online exclusives are new, we're still kind of not in the rhythm of it. I mean, I even forget to show them sometimes. I have not showed that tartan pattern as much as I wanted to. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to ask, because I think it is absolutely so complimentary to this kit. And I think it's also going to be complimentary as we head into like the winter and the spring, particularly with Lost Lagoon. Okay, so we have our layer. And then this one's going to be pretty simple. We're going to do that same exact technique that we just did where we're doing the two-tone ink, or you could do your Stampin' Write markers. So we're going to get our largest dandelion here. And, okay, old olive. And what we're going to do, the only difference And that alarm's probably going to go off again in a second here. The only difference with this one, let me see if I can get a little bit further in there. I think I got it. Okay. Is that I'm going to stamp off one time before I actually stamp it down. And that's just because I want a lighter image so that our greeting is the stronger of the image here of the two. Okay, so we're just going to stamp off, and then we're going to stamp our circle. We're going to go right in the center. Okay, so that's the only difference. It's just a little bit lighter. And then we're going to get our pebbled path, and we're going to do the 1,000 good luck wishes. And we're just going to stamp that right over that. Okay. And then you would, of course, would die cut your circle, but I die cut it ahead of time just for the sake of time. Okay, and so let me just get my bone folder. So this top fold, 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and then score at 5 1/2. Our insert, which I have off to the side here, basic white insert, 4 by 5 1/4, so that you can just pop that on the inside. I recommend stamping the dandelion on the inside too. I think that would be so pretty. And we're just going to glue this piece down. I think that them printing both sides of the card base has really helped with the value and extending the life of the kit with all of our different alternate ideas, because so many imaginations just go wild when we open up these boxes and get these kits. And, you know, Paper Pumpkin, they do their own alternates as well, which are also really beautiful. So it's just fun to see the way that everybody interprets these kits with alternates. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do as a demonstrator. Okay, and then adhesive, I'm just looking for. So for the gold foil piece, we're going to glue that straight down, and then we're going to use dimensionals for our outer circle. I'm just going to do like a little X. Trying to use the adhesive from the kit, but I also incorporate my own adhesives. I always do. Okay, particularly with alternates, but I actually do it with the regular cards too. And then again, I'm going towards the top so that these will still shine through. Oh, I really got to turn that alarm off. Okay. And I'm just going to pop a couple of dimensionals on the back of this. This is probably too many, but whatever. We're just going to go with it. We're going to roll with it. Set that right over top. And then we'll finish with our faceted gems. I did faceted gems for all of this, but I did just want to shout out and remind you guys that one thing that I think would be really great as an alternate with these, the wild wheat or the pebbled path. If you have these, most of us do at this point, I think. If you have the in color dots, the 2023, 2025 in color dots, they're going to be absolutely perfect with this. So when you run out of your faceted gems, just consider that as an alternate, as well as the ribbon and the jute trim. I think that those are going to go great. It's, you know, wild wheat is like crushed curry's cousin. All right, what did I do with those faceted gems? Here they are. Okay. And I actually put these right on the image. So I'll just put them right on the circle again. There we go. Got it. Okay. You could, you know, position them wherever you want or add more or add less. I tend to do 3. It's like my go-to thing. And then I do sometimes add more than that. But here is our 4th card, and I'll hold these straight for anybody who wants to screenshot. Okay, and then let's go ahead and bring these back in. And we'll just fill the screen with them for a second while we talk about what's coming up with Paper Pumpkin, which you guys know I love to do. These are the original cards, so I'm just going to leave these off to the side. Okay. All right, so there we go. And let me move this out of the way. You guys can't see it, but I had my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine actually sitting on my chair, which is weird. Okay, here we go. I pushed my chair way out of the way and I just got to wheel it back. Okay, let's see. Penny, have to watch the replay. Can't wait to see what you created. No problem, Penny. Thank you for stopping by. I love when you guys leave comments. Okay, so we're going to go back to the 2-shot. Okay, good. So I just want to thank all of you who hung out with me through the course of today's live. I know I have been all over the place with live times, particularly I just throughout this whole fall and heading into the winter season. It's not going to get any better until the new year. This will probably be my last live until I can get a babysitter, because Connor will be going on school break starting, it's either Thursday or Friday. Okay, so let's talk about what's coming up with Paper Pumpkin and with Stampin' Up. So if you want to stay with me, let's chat about this for a minute. And you know what? I don't know if I have my new catalog sitting here. That's my annual. Here's the celebration brochure. We'll mention that in just a minute, but let me see if I can find. There it is. I was going to say, when we get these new catalogs, they live with us. They stay right next to us pretty much the whole time we're preparing, right? Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, and I am going to make this screen big again just for a minute. Okay, so Paper Pumpkin is making a couple of changes for 2024. I think they're all great. I think they're all fun. I'm not sure why they made the change with printing on acetate. I have no idea what that's all about, but that's a very minor thing as far as I'm concerned. That's not a major worry for me, but if it is for you, let me know in the comments. I always love to hear what you guys think. But what Paper Pumpkin is doing is we're still doing our monthly subscription box, but they're giving us 3 months worth of information at a time. And one of the great things about that, if you are a planner like me, it's always good to know what is coming up ahead. It's also good to know for people who like the prepaid subscriptions. We have 1, 3, 6, and 12-month prepaid subscription codes, and they really make it easy. And so if you are wondering, should I do a 3-month subscription code? Yes, you should, because here's January, here's February, and here's March. In addition to that, these are the dies that we have been talking about. So I'm just going to walk through this paper really quickly, and then we'll talk about the new catalog that's coming up in January, as well as our celebration brochure, which is also coming up in January. So the January Paper Pumpkin Kit theme is called Lovely Lavender. It's actually going to be coordinating with certain products that are going to be coming out in the new catalog, but I can't show the new catalog until it launches publicly January 4th. So we'll just mention that, okay? But it's a card kit. This subscription period is open right now, so you can subscribe to the January kit up until January 10th, 2024. So I would recommend doing it now so you don't forget with the holidays. But if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. I always recommend the prepaid codes. You plug it in, you're activated, and you're all set, and you don't have to worry about it, right? Particularly as we're going to get busy with Christmas and New Year's. So again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. But this also makes a great last minute gift idea as well. Gifting somebody a subscription for 1 month, 3 months, that would be really, really sweet. And if you're very generous, 6 or 12 months. Now, the February Paper Pumpkin Kit, the subscription period always starts the day after the other one closes. So on January 11th, you'll be able to subscribe to the February kit. February kit's going to be called Sweet Springtime. And this one is going to be an Easter and spring theme. It is a combination of cards and treats. March's kit is going to be, the subscription period for that will open on February 11th after this one closes. And then this one you can subscribe up until March 10th. The March kit is the birthday month for Paper Pumpkin, which means there is a bonus stamp set in March's kit. And they're actually giving us a sneak peek at that. Now, one thing that might not matter too much to you, but that I am loving is if you look at these color bars right here, can you see these color bars? I'm going to bring it a little bit closer since I'm mentioning it. See those color bars? I bet those are coordinating colors. So we can actually see, I have been doing this for years with Paper Pumpkin where I'm stamping out those coordinating colors or showing them because it just makes a difference other than reading the words. So I love that they have this little sort of color bar right here on the bottom. But here's the greatest thing. They're doing something new for 2024 with the dies, which means the love die is going to coordinate with January's kit. The daffodil die is going to coordinate with the February kit. The leaf sprig is going to coordinate with the March kit. And then we also have this die, which I believe will coordinate with sentiments throughout the entire year, just because of the sizing of it. When you take a look at it, it's just going to be one of those things that's going to be complimentary, and not even just for our Paper Pumpkin subscriptions throughout the year, but whenever we need it. So you can buy the die set, 1, 2, 3, 4 dies in this set right now. Okay. And here's the information for the add-on dies just one more time. The Love of Spring dies add-on, item 164396. They're $12 for 4 dies while supplies last. Whenever you purchase add-ons, refills, or past kits, you have to be an active Paper Pumpkin subscriber to do that. So there are so many benefits to, being a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. That is just something that I wanted to mention. I can see that my Wi-Fi is being spotty, so I apologize if I'm being interrupted. But this is a really great guide to what 2024 is going to look like for Paper Pumpkin. We get to see in advance what we're going to be subscribing for. Sorry about that. We're subscribing monthly. We're actually getting a look at all of the coordinating colors here. Now, I have been sending out the flyer to the people that are on my email list, but if you would like a copy of this flyer, you can reach out to me. You can email me, and I would be happy to send it to you, stampingwithheart@gmail.com. But the best thing to do, in my opinion, would be to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin. And if you are currently a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, I recommend the prepaid subscription codes. Just so you know you're going to be getting your 3 months. This is what our themes are going to be. This is what we're going to be looking forward to. And just by looking at this, it looks like Paper Pumpkin is going to be absolutely incredible for the first quarter or the first 3 months for 2024. I love this. And we're going to be seeing everything, in groups of 3. So every 3 months, we're going to get to look ahead, but you're still going to get your monthly subscription just like you always do. It's going to show up in your mailbox. You're going to open it up and you're going to be overjoyed when you get to see everything that's in the kit. This gives us some details, but we never know exactly what we get until we open that box. But I love that we can see the themes and that we can plan ahead. So huge, huge, huge. And then the add-on dies, just having that extra thing to make our kits go the extra mile is so fabulous. So these can be easy to forget about. So I just want to point this out so that you guys have the add-on dies and the tools that are going to work with the next 3 months worth of kits. Okay. So, and I'll put information about this in the project sheet as well. So again, I will have a project sheet for today's alternate card ideas. And then for those of you, just in case you're new here, if you need a catalog, please reach out to me and let me know. I'm still waiting for my catalogs to arrive, and then I'll probably be working on them and mailing them out in the last few, weeks here. I got to get them out before they launch, but they are on the way. So they should be getting here very soon. That's something that I'll be doing off camera. But if you do need a catalog, this is going to be the catalog for starting January 4th, and Celebration will be starting January 4th as well. So if you need a catalog, or if you don't need a catalog, please reach out to me. You can email me and just say to me, can you please send me a catalog? Send me your information so I can send it to you. Or if you don't need a catalog, I would appreciate knowing that too, because there is a cost involved for us demonstrators when we have to do that. Okay. All right. So that is it for me. I want to thank you all so much for being here. Now, I do plan on doing a video officially before New Year's, but I don't know if I can guarantee it just because my son will be home. It depends on what I can arrange. So in the meantime, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. I have been reflecting on 2023, thinking about things that I would like to do for 2024. If you have any ideas of what you would like to see in 2024, I would love to hear from you. But I just want you to know, I am so grateful to have you here. I absolutely love doing this. This is one of my just absolute favorite things. I adore it. So I am grateful for you. I would love to have you subscribe if you like to see monthly tutorials. If you like to see alternate ideas for Paper Pumpkin, I would love to have you subscribe with me on my YouTube channel, or have you follow me on Facebook if you haven't done that, at Stamping with Hart. That is my business page. And the more reach I get and the more people who comment and like and share the video, the more YouTube and Facebook see that, and then they will start sending it out to more people as well. So that's just the way to get the word out, to get the ideas out there. And I will work on getting you guys the free project sheet and the replay really, really soon. I'm going to try to get it out to you tonight. If not, you guys will see it tomorrow morning. So thank you so much. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. For me personally, we celebrate Christmas, and I will see you again soon. Enjoy the alternates. Okay. Bye-bye.